Part 80. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fa Shi. Chapter 792. Boom. A thunderous sound came from the void, and the might of the phoenix was overwhelming, colliding with the 37 immortal swords. Qin Feng pulled away more than a dozen of the immortal swords on the spot. At the same time, there were more than 20 immortal swords that crossed Qin Feng's body and pierced through the earth, piercing the ground and spreading endless ripples. This scene was very shocking. The 30-odd immortal swords moved so loudly that they pierced the earth like pillars to the sky, causing the solid rocks to collapse. Dang! A piercing loud sound came, and the world lost its voice in an instant. Countless cultivators in the distant sky only felt the eardrums roaring and piercing, and were almost pierced by the sound waves. This scene made people lose their minds for a short time. The next moment they came to their senses and found that Qin Feng in the air, although he had avoided the pursuit of countless immortal swords in a hair's breadth. However, he was pierced on his body shield by the king's sword of the Fire Venerable. This terrible threat caused Qin Feng's body to tremble. Although the light shield did not break, the recoil force also invaded his body, causing him to bleed from the corner of his mouth and suffer a minor injury. Old thing, you have completely angered me. Qin Feng's eyes were cold. Since his debut, few people have been able to injure him. Now, the opponent's realm is higher than his, which is a very realistic problem. However, his combat power is also very powerful under the blessing of the critical strike. The opponent actually injured him and caused him to bleed from the corner of his mouth, which made him extremely irritable. Similarly, this not only did not make him lose his will to fight, but made his power more intense and his blood boiled more. God King Sword. At this moment, Qin Feng put away the absolute immortal sword and took out the 6-Dao immortal sword. Even if the opponent is higher than his realm, he is still fearless. As the first move of the God King Sword against the sky was performed, a huge God King vision appeared behind Qin Feng. The God King vision was the same as himself, and looked like Qin Feng's original body. This self-respecting martial art surprised countless cultivators in the distant sky. Qi La. The God King vision split the void, and the terrible blade light hit forward, completely covering the Luo Venerable. The first move of the God King Sword, under the blessing of the critical stone, 200 times the energy blessing, flowed out the power that shocked the king, and the blade light was dazzling to the extreme. Dang! Where the long sword went, dozens of blade lights hit forward together, drowning Luo Venerable. At this moment, on Luo Venerable's body, a raging fire spread, the fairy sword turned back, and the king runes were all over the sky, blocking Qin Feng's God King swordsmanship from approaching. Kaka. However, a scene that was extremely surprising happened. Qin Feng's God King sword against the sky was extremely terrifying. The blade light was unstoppable, and it actually cut off dozens of vision fairy swords directly, turning them into nothingness. At the same time, the blade light moved forward and completely chopped on the body of the Fire Lord, making a huge sound. At this moment, endless runes appeared on the body of the Fire Lord, and the treasured clothes on his body became dazzling, blocking Qin Feng's unparalleled blade light. In the distance, countless cultivators were all trembling. They found that the treasured clothes on the Fire Lord's body had reached the upper quality of the earthly immortals, and were engraved with countless king runes. It was a jade with a formation. The king runes that were stimulated could bless the defense of the Fire Lord's treasured clothes, and ordinary immortal weapons could not break it at all. However, the first move of the God King Sword against the sky, under the blessing of the critical stone, rushed forward and took effect at once. The terrible blade light directly split the king rune, and the protective formation on it completely lit up, and then it was directly disillusioned, and Qin Feng chopped out a white mark. Near the white mark, cracks spread out one after another, and blood flowed. The Luo Venerable was injured. How terrible! Everyone changed color. Qin Feng's sword light actually broke through the terrible king's battle suit directly, which made people know that the weapon in Qin Feng's hand was at the same level of the immortal sword he used before. This scene was really shocking, and made people know that Qin Feng definitely had a terrible background, otherwise it would be impossible for him to throw out such an amazing immortal weapon. However, what surprised people even more was that according to rumors, the divine power of ordinary cultivators was not enough to supply this kind of weapon, but this young man could not only supply it, but also use it continuously, which made people wonder how amazing the divine power in his body was. This scene made Li Tian in the distance frightened. He stared at the weapon in Qin Feng's hand, looked at it again, and couldn't help himself in his heart. He was completely shocked. Ah! The Luo Venerable roared loudly. He was actually cut through the protective robe by Qin Feng's immortal sword, and his 5 internal organs were damaged, which made him furious. Under his thoughts, the 37 immortal swords condensed again, and the killing aura was overwhelming, sweeping towards Qin Feng, and the might was infinitely powerful to form a killing array. Qin Feng held the 6 immortal swords and smashed forward, trying to stop the 37 immortal swords and respond at the same time. However, things did not develop as Qin Feng thought. The 37 immortal swords suddenly passed over his body and stabbed on the ground. At the same time, the killing array burst out with endless king runes, and the 36 swords intertwined into the Tiangang formation, trying to trap Qin Feng in it. And the other king's sword formed the formation hub, flowing out terrible pressure, trying to refine Qin Feng directly. The golden flame surged like a volcano, completely submerging Qin Feng. Layer after layer of flame waves hit Qin Feng's body, causing the place to riot directly. "Break it for me!" In the killing array, Qin Feng roared, and the immovable God King vision on his body turned into dozens of giants, roaring from the array to shake the mountains and rivers. The huge God King vision, holding a light-like long sword, rose up in the Tiangang array and slashed forward. At this moment, with the blessing of the critical stone, the God King of the world, 200 times stronger, flew up to the sky and broke the space between heaven and earth. Puff! Xuexian swung down, and the God King of the sky reached the second style, and instantly chopped on the body of the Luo Venerable. Ah! The Luo Venerable screamed, and he flew out with blood all over his body. At the same time, Qin Feng stepped on the thunder step and jumped out of the killing array. Although this killing array was very terrifying, Qin Feng's array method was extremely powerful. He immediately found a way out and escaped from the shrouded killing array. Behind him, the king's sword followed him like a shadow, with a brilliant edge on it. Under the blessing of the king's rune, it pointed to Qin Feng's back, wanting to kill Qin Feng on the spot. Warm Ti. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 793. God King in the World. At this time, Qin Feng's back seemed to have eyes. He roared, and the second move of the God King's sword, God King in the World, rushed forward, and the blood-colored sword light split the space. At this moment, God King in the World, under the blessing of the 6 Dao Immortal Sword, tore the sky. He did not dodge and slashed at the Luo Venerable in front of him. Qin Feng's speed was too fast. His move was completely violent. The sword light swept across the sky, and the sword intent emanating was very dazzling. Luo Venerable was shocked. He clearly felt that Qin Feng's attack would hit him before his sword light hit the opponent, which shocked him. He knew that the opponent was attacking and saving, wanting to distract himself and escape, and create an opportunity for the opponent. Fight. However, Luo Venerable knew that he could not retreat, otherwise he would be weaker than the opponent in terms of momentum alone, and he did not believe that Qin Feng would be safe after enduring his attack. What's more, he is a great king who can regenerate broken limbs. Even if he is seriously injured, he can recover quickly. But the other party is different. The young man in front of him has only the second level of the princes. Once he is seriously injured, the other party will definitely not be able to stop his next attack. So, Venerable Luo decided to fight hard. He let out a long roar and pushed the king's sword with all his strength. The king's sword exuded 1,000-foot sword energy, which was very dazzling. Chilla! The god king in the world, in an instant, slashed on Venerable Luo's body, cutting off his entire arm, and his body armor could not stop it at all. If it weren't for the last moment, Venerable Luo's divine form moved slightly to avoid it, I'm afraid he would be directly split in half. At the same time, the king's sword also pierced through and hit Qin Feng's back. Although Qin had the blessing of the critical stone, the immovable God King light shield on his body flickered for a while, and in the end it couldn't stop Luo's king's sword. The king's sword destroyed Qin Feng's immovable God King light shield and touched his back. For a moment, the Ruyi armor bloomed with thousands of auspicious colors, and countless divine patterns intertwined to protect Qin Feng himself. But even so, Qin Feng changed color. This king's sword was the full-strength attack of the Luo Venerable. He was directly knocked out thousands of meters away and fell into a mountain. On the other hand, Luo Venerable showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth after Qin Feng was knocked away. He thought that Qin Feng had endured such an attack from him. Even if the opponent was extraordinary, he would be damaged by the shock of his internal organs and his combat effectiveness would be less than 1/10. When he was about to use energy to lead his severed arm back, he found an extremely terrifying scene. There was a terrible secret force flowing near his wound, which actually resisted the guidance of his arm, which made him panic to the extreme. If the broken arm could not be reattached after reaching his level of cultivation, his combat effectiveness would inevitably be greatly reduced. Moreover, if he spent his own blood and qi to grow another arm, it would inevitably damage his blood and qi, and his combat effectiveness would also decrease in a short period of time, which was completely not worth the loss. At this moment, Venerable Luo did something that everyone was extremely terrified about. Venerable Luo was decisive and strong. He directly took the arm and cut off the part of the arm that was cut by the sword. At the same time, he pressed Luo near the wound on his shoulder, directly dissolving the terrible secret power of Qin Feng's Six Paths Immortal Sword. Ah! In an instant, Venerable Luo changed color and let out a low cry. His face was distorted. It can be imagined what kind of pain he endured. After doing all this, Venerable Luo pressed his arm near his wound, and at the same time, endless light intertwined on his body, and the arm was taken back by him. There is no doubt that Venerable Luo's approach was correct, because doing so would not damage his blood and qi on a large scale, and his combat effectiveness would not be much weaker than before. In the distance, countless cultivators were terrified. This Luo Venerable was so decisive. Such a scene shocked people. The other party was a peerless, fierce man with a vicious and decisive temperament. Swish! The Luo Venerable's footsteps were mysterious. He came to the sky above the mountain where Qin Feng buried his god. In his eyes, two cold lights bloomed, staring at the movement in the mountain. He knew that Qin Feng was a man of outstanding talent. After enduring such an attack, the other party was definitely not dead. In the distance, Lan Yu and others were frightened. There was a little bit of brilliance in their eyes. Qin Feng directly endured the full-strength attack of the Great Accomplishment King, which made them frightened. Even if the cultivators in the vassal realm were against the sky, they would not be able to survive after enduring the full-strength attack of the Great Accomplishment King. They would definitely be seriously injured. However, when Lan Yu looked at Zhou Qing'er, Ye Qingcheng and others, she found that although there was worry in their eyes, they were not panicked. They seemed to have strong confidence in Qin Feng, and this attitude also made Lan Yu feel a little relieved. However, Lan Yu's followers and protectors were very confused. A strong man in the vassal realm suffered a fatal blow from a great king. Shouldn't Qin Feng's friends and women be extremely panicked? Little did they know that Ye Qingcheng, Zhou Qing'er and others, although they did not show their fear in their hearts, were no less than others. However, they had experienced situations that were several times more dangerous than this with Qin Feng. At that time, Qin Feng's cultivation level was even lower, and he was very calm when facing monks who were more than a dozen realms above him. But now, in their minds, they already admire Qin Feng wholeheartedly, knowing that Qin Feng cannot be killed by such a threat. What's more, they are also afraid that their emotions will infect others and cause others to panic. You are indeed not dead. Lord Luo was suspended in the sky above Qin Feng. He said in a cold voice that he knew Qin Feng would not die so easily, but he didn't know how much fighting power the opponent would have left. Old guy, I have to admit that you are indeed very strong. You failed to grasp the opportunity I gave you just now. Now I will take your life. Qin Feng's cold voice sounded. He pushed away the broken boulder, rose into the air from below, and floated in mid-air. Now I am still at my peak, and you have been severely injured. How can you be my opponent? Venerable Luo spoke coldly. He looked down at Qin Feng. An extremely terrifying wave spread across his body at this moment, and the king's sword bloomed with an earth-shattering aura on his body. Near the mountain, countless boulders flew up and floated around him. He was ready to use his strongest blow to kill Qin Feng. The King of Gods shines in the sky. At this time, Qin Feng's body spread out terrifying divine power fluctuations. He held the Six Paths Immortal Sword in his hand, and a monstrous sword light rose into the sky. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 794. God King Yao Qingtian, as the third move against the heaven-defying divine kingship, was unleashed at this time, and his terrifying aura shook the heavens and the earth. People were surprised to find that Qin Feng's vision of the God King suddenly changed, and a bright moon appeared behind him. The vision of the God King showed a bright moon rising on the sea. At this time, he took the initiative to appear and became one with Qin Feng's God King, exuding an astonishing power. Bang! Qin Feng's God King Yao Qingtian blocked Lord Luo's strongest blow and failed to cause any damage to him. Lord Luo was very surprised. He found that Qin Feng's aura became more intense and his power doubled, making him aware of a shocking crisis. However, he was not without the strength to fight. A terrifying wave spread out from his body. The sword of the king swallowed the essence of the world, and the shield fell down to break Qin Feng's body defense. Cut. At this time, Qin Feng let out a cold shout, and a monstrous sword light bloomed from his body. The phenomenon was rapid and huge. As Qin Feng's arm shook slightly, the huge long sword slashed forward. A loud clang sound came, and Qin Feng's God King Yao Qingtian blocked the attack of Lord Luo again, looking relaxed and comfortable. How is that possible? Venerable Luo was secretly shocked. In just a few breaths, the opponent's combat power doubled. He was obviously just a monk of the second level of the princes. How could he have such power? As everyone knows, Qin Feng's heaven-defying God King sword skills are extremely terrifying. They are the best martial arts skills of heavenly immortals. They are as powerful as him, but he has not yet understood all the divine powers in them. This third move was the first time he had used it. This move was stronger than the previous move. When superimposed several times, his combat power, with the blessing of the critical stone, became unimaginably stronger. Dang glang glang. In the void, swords collided. Lord Luo's king's sword collided with Qin Feng's Six Paths Immortal Sword. A terrifying sword light filled the air, like a landslide and a tsunami. The terrifying sound waves filled the surrounding area, shocking countless monks in the distance, and at the same time, their eardrums were rumbling, making it unbearable. Suddenly, a gap appeared in the king's sword in Venerable Luo's hand, and it was covered with cracks. If it hadn't been for the most critical moment, there was still the blessing of the king's rune, and it would have been shattered. Hiss! Countless monks in the distance were shocked. The majestic heavenly level weapons were almost destroyed by Qin Feng. Such a scene made people extremely shocked. Venerable Luo gasped even more. His immortal level weapon was almost destroyed, which made him feel extremely painful. What a shame! Zhou Qing'er said regretfully in the distance. She knew that if such a weapon was damaged, the master would definitely feel distressed, because it would be Qin Feng's trophy. I wipe it, it feels so uncomfortable. Sure enough, at this time, Qin Feng in mid-air had a look of discomfort on his face, which made countless monks in the distance suspicious. Qin Feng clearly used a powerful weapon to cut Master Luo's blade into pieces. Why did he scream like this? Was he injured by the divine power on Master Luo's blade? My trophy! Immediately afterwards, Qin Feng's voice sounded again, and his words made everyone present feel confused in the wind. They knew at this moment that Qin Feng's words turned out to be because he felt sorry for the weapon of Lord Luo that he had destroyed, not because he was injured. On the opposite side, Lord Luo almost spit out a mouthful of old blood in his heart when he heard this. It was his king's sword. At this moment, it was destroyed by Qin Feng. He hadn't even cried out that he was distressed, but the other party shouted like this. This was she really didn't take him seriously and wanted to make him angry to death, which he couldn't bear. Shu Zi is looking for death. Lord Luo roared loudly. He was about to go crazy because of Qin Feng's energy. The god King Yao Qingtian on Qin Feng's body doubled his combat power. But at this moment, the other party looked like he was convinced. This was Qi Kuokyo's provocation, and it was really unforgivable. You are looking for death. Qin Feng's eyes were full of murderous intent. With the blessing of 200 times the critical stone, he used the Six Paths Immortal Sword and wielded the heaven-defying God King's Sword technique, which made his combat effectiveness stand out. A huge bright moon appeared between the sky and the earth. The bright moon turned into a divine disk, suspended behind the vision of the God King, and suddenly seemed to Qin Feng to have turned into a god. He held the Six Paths Immortal Sword and slashed forward, slashing towards Venerable Luo's body with terrifying power. Go to hell! Venerable Luo's eyes were cold. The other party was obviously just a junior, but he despised him so much. This was humiliating him and he couldn't accept it. His body was glowing crazily, and Li Huo burned his whole body. He seemed to have turned into a god of fire. The king's sword also burst out with king's runes at this moment. The gorgeous fire light intertwined between the sky and the earth, and fell towards Qin Feng. Coming, the power is shocking. Countless people in the distance were frightened. Venerable Luo was worthy of being a strong man in the holy land of Luo Pavilion. His cultivation was unrivaled by few. He was a real living fossil of a master. And Qin Feng was able to fight the opponent to such a degree that he forced the opponent to use his trump card. His identity must have a strong background, otherwise, he would not have been able to perform such an amazing feat. Clang! A heaven-shaking sound spread, and the six-path divine king sword in Qin Feng's hand, with the blessing of the critical stone, turned into an unparalleled sword with 200 times the energy. The blade light broke through the void, crushing the flames shot by Venerable Luo into the void, forming a terrifying light. A whirlwind of true energy blew in the field, and collided with Venerable Luo with earth-shaking power. Puff! At this moment, Venerable Luo could no longer bear it, and he spit out a mouthful of blood. He was no match for Qin Feng even though he had the sword of the king, and he was also injured by the opponent, which made him feel stabbed all over and his heart was bleeding. At this time, all the discerning people had seen that Qin Feng, who had used the god King Yao Qingtian, had firmly gained the upper hand. If he continued to fight, Venerable Luo would only die. This battle was about to end, and the ending was already determined. Qi La! God King Yao Qingtian pressed forward again, and the dazzling blade light filled the entire space, bombarding Venerable Luo, trying to kill him. At this moment, Venerable Luo was horrified. He raised the king's sword in his hand and resisted with all his strength. However, the Six Paths immortal sword blessed by the critical stone could no longer withstand the king's sword. It directly shattered into pieces of immortal gold, rushing in all directions like a series of meteors. Swish, swish, swish. The heaven and earth were trembling. The fragments of the king's sword pierced through the mountains and the earth, causing countless mountains to tremble, ancient trees to collapse, and rocks to collapse. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 795. How is that possible? Lord Luo's eyes were horrified. His king's sword could not stop Qin Feng's attack and shattered between heaven and earth. This was unacceptable to him. Moreover, at this moment, God King Yao Qingtian pressed down, and the terrifying sword energy struck him, causing him to scream in agony. He was no longer a match for Qin Feng. At this moment, under the shroud of Qin Feng Shen King Yao Qingtian, Venerable Luo screamed repeatedly, his body covered with blood. If it weren't for the king's rune on his body, which neutralized the huge attack, he would have been chopped into pieces by Qin Feng at this moment. Wait. At this time, Lord Luo roared, his eyes showing deep fear. Now that he had used all his trump cards, Zhong had lost any resistance. Yes, he was completely scared. As a strong man in the Holy Land Luo Pavilion, he used various means but still couldn't kill the opponent. He knew that his situation was very bad at this moment. However, Qin Feng didn't listen to him at all. He waved the Six Paths immortal sword in his hand, trying to kill Lord Luo directly. At this moment, Venerable Luo's face changed drastically, and fear appeared in his heart. Originally, he wanted to use his identity as Venerable Luo Pavilion to suppress the other party and create conditions for himself. But he didn't expect that the other party didn't care about meat and vegetables at all, and wouldn't give him any chance at all, so his plan could only fail. Brush. At the moment when Qin Feng's Six Paths immortal sword was about to strike Lord Luo's eyebrows, he directly activated the teleportation stone in Luo Pavilion. This kind of teleportation jade stone, also known as rune stone, has formations across the void engraved on it. It can carry the monk's body through the void in an instant. It is difficult for ordinary kings to catch up. A ray of light appeared on Lord Luo's body, enveloping him, and with his body, he traveled hundreds of miles in an instant and disappeared into the sky. Qin Feng's eyes temporarily revealed murderous intent. His fiery golden eyes penetrated the void, and he frowned slightly as he looked in the direction where Lord Luo escaped. This teleportation rune stone is very similar to the 1,000 miles transmission talisman that Qin Feng's system once rewarded. Both of them are engraved with formations, which are the methods of famous masters. You must know that being able to put a small formation on a piece of jade the size of a palm is far beyond what ordinary formation masters can do. The teleportation runestone in the hands of the Soul Master is also extremely precious. The other party is not an ordinary monk, so having such a long-distance treasure is indeed a miscalculation for Qin Feng. You want to run too, can you? Qin Feng turned around and looked at Li Tian, who was about to escape. At this moment, Li Tian's face looked extremely ugly. Lord Luo escaped and did not take him away, which made him panic. None of the venerables in his holy land were Qin Feng's opponents, which made him panic. He knew that Qin Feng was so powerful that he could not compete with him at all. Brother, if you have something to say, please tell me. I am a disciple of Luo Pavilion in the ancient Holy Land. Li Tian showed an ugly smile, but before he could finish his words, Qin Feng used the Thunder Walk and came to the front of him. The speed was so fast that it was difficult to predict. Brush. In an instant, Qin Feng came to the top of Li Tian. In his hand, the light of the lunar and sun intertwined and suddenly blasted out. With the blessing of the critical stone, Qin Yinzi suddenly bombarded Li Tian's body at an incredible speed. The terrifying Qin seal destroyed Li Tian's defenses and protective magic weapons. Even though he was as strong as the 9th level of the princes, he could not stop Qin Feng's ferocious offensive. After all, even the venerable Luo Pavilion couldn't stop Qin Feng's attack, and he was just a prince, how could he resist it? In an instant, Li Tian was blown away by Qin Feng. He was in mid-air, with blood flowing wildly, and fell to the ground, almost torn apart. "You are really bullying me too much." Li Tian coughed up blood in his mouth. As a genius of the ancient Holy Land, he had extremely strong vitality. Even after enduring an attack like Qin Feng's, he did not fall. For the first time, he left the sky and fled away from the sky. After saying such words, he fled towards the distance. At this moment, he had no intention of resisting Qin Feng. After all, even his own lord ran away after seeing Qin Feng, and he did not dare to stay for a long time. "Can you run away?" A sneer appeared at the corner of Qin Feng's mouth. He called Ye Cheng and others to follow him, and he also took his time and chased after Li Tian. After chasing a few sticks of incense, Qin Feng deliberately lost his target. After escaping for hundreds of miles from Li Tian, he was exhausted and hid in a mountain. He began to swallow pills to treat his injuries. After a long time, he finally managed to survive. He used his powerful spiritual consciousness to scan his surroundings. After making sure that there was no Qin Feng's breath, Li Tian rose into the sky from the heart of the mountain and disappeared into the distance. Just when Li Tian's figure disappeared, Qin Feng's figure appeared in the mountain forest. The king with his fiery eyes and golden eyes left in the direction of Li Tian, with a slight sneer on his lips. He believed that the other party, as the genius of Luo Pavilion, must have a way to contact everyone in the Holy Land in this secret realm. As long as you follow Li Tian, you can find the hiding place of Lord Li Huo and the others, and then destroy them in one fell swoop to avoid future troubles. At this moment, Li Tian, who was escaping, arrived near the entrance of the second floor. Based on the information left by the monks in the Holy Land, he knew that they had entered the second floor. Then, after making sure that he was not followed by anyone, he disappeared in the second level of the secret realm. Behind him, Qin Feng stepped out, and he and everyone else also flashed into the second level of the secret realm. After arriving at the second level of the secret realm, Qin Feng instantly locked onto Li Tian's body. It turned out that when Qin Feng was chasing Li Tian, Venerable Luo and others had already escaped to the second level. This trip to the secret realm was for the Jadeite in the secret realm, and Venerable Luo and his people would naturally not give up such a good opportunity. While asking for help from the Holy Land, they entered the second level of the secret realm, preparing to find enough Jadeite to allow Venerable Luo to improve his realm, and then fight back and solve Qin Feng to eliminate future troubles. They didn't know that Qin Feng was following Li Tian, circling around, and approaching them. Li Tian, the initiator of this incident, was completely unaware of this. He thought he was very cautious in looking for the marks left by the monks in the sect, and soon he came to the front of a valley according to the instructions. Here, the sky is filled with hazy clouds and countless energy spirits are flying all over the sky. It is obviously a treasure land. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 796. At this time, Qin Feng also noticed the movement in the valley. His eyes focused and he felt a terrible aura from the valley. There should be a mountain treasure appearing in the world. This scene made Qin Feng's eyes light up. His idea of following Li Tian to find Lord Li Huo was indeed correct. He could actually encounter such a good thing. Qin Feng was very suspicious that the secret treasure in the valley must be comparable to the fairywood chalcedony he just obtained. Qin Feng can confirm that the mountain treasures here are completely different from those on the first level of the Guardian Secret Realm, because this place is not yet the formation hub on the second level. At this time, Li Tian's pupils also shrank suddenly. He did not expect that the venerable master of his own holy land would actually find such a treasure. As long as he practices in this treasured land, his injuries will be healed quickly. And if he can get that secret treasure, he will be able to reach the level of a great king, and then he can turn around and kill that damn monk. Lord Luo did not forget to look back at this time. After making sure that Qin Feng and others were not following him, he instantly rose into the air and joined the monks of Luo Pavilion in the valley. Xiao Tian, you escaped. At this time, Venerable Li Huo's voice sounded. With his powerful spiritual consciousness, he glanced behind Li Tian, his expression shrinking violently. He knew that with Li Tian's methods, he was afraid that he would not be able to escape safely from Qin Feng's hands, because the fighting power of the two was completely incomparable. At this moment, Li Tian actually escaped, which made him unbelievable. Yes, senior brother, that boy was extremely difficult to deal with. I lost half my life before I managed to escape. Li Tian was still frightened when he thought of his previous experience. Qin Feng was so powerful that he was much more terrifying than their sage. It was God's blessing that he was able to escape. How is that possible? Lord Li Huo was suspicious. The strength shown by Qin Feng was too strong. He was skeptical that Li Tian could escape from the other party's hands. At this time, in the valley, there were not only the monks from Luo Pavilion, but also these other casual cultivators. Moreover, there are some monks approaching this place, and they are all attracted by the chalcedony here. In the middle of the valley, there is a fairy flower of chalcedony. The fairy flower flows with brilliant life essence. It is obviously a plant, but it blooms with silky lines like a fairy flower carved from beautiful jade. Such a scene made everyone present's pupils shrink suddenly. No one was not tempted by the fairy chalcedony, and everyone wanted to take the fairy flower into their hands. However, the power of Luo Pavilion in the Holy Land here was the strongest, and the strength it showed shocked all the casual cultivators around it. For a while, they faced off against the monks, and no one dared to snatch it for the time being. After Qin Feng discovered the fairy flower, he immediately flew through the air and came to the sky above these people. At this moment, Venerable Li Huo, Li Tian, and others have been found, and there is no need to hide their traces anymore. Xianpsa. When Qin Feng came here, he glanced at the flower standing on the ground. It was a strange flower chalcedony, which looked like it was carved from a whole piece of jade. It emitted powerful fluctuations of divine power, and there were prohibitions engraved around it. It looked like a very extraordinary treasure at first glance. However, when Qin Fenglan glanced around, his eyes suddenly became serious, because he found that there were several extremely terrifying sacred trees around the fairy flower. Those sacred trees have reached the realm of kings, and there are as many as 5. Such a strong man is extremely terrifying at first glance. Moreover, he also discovered that the souls of these 5 sacred trees were hidden among the thousands of surrounding trees. As for which one was Hexi, he could not confirm yet. Once there is a conflict with the sacred tree, it will be like fighting against the 5 kings. It will be very difficult to fight against thousands of tree demons. The combined combat power of the 5 sacred trees is comparable to that of the king of the 6th heaven. This scene is extremely shocking. It is no wonder that Lord Luo did not forcefully pick the fairy flowers after he came here. And those thousands of tree demons combined can rival a king. Such a scene is extremely scary. It's you. In the sky, Lord Luo's eyes were cold. He stared at the approaching Qin Feng, with murderous intent rising and falling. Li Tian was also horrified after seeing Qin Feng's figure. He did not expect that Qin Feng actually followed his figure and found this place, which made him panic. The eyes that Venerable Luo glanced at him were also full of fierce murderous intent. The other party was blaming him for leading the enemy here. "I'll take care of you later," Lord Luo said secretly in his heart, but at this time we should share the same hatred with the enemy, so he did not directly blame Lishan. At this moment, Qin Feng was facing this fairy flower and already had the idea of grabbing it in his hand. Lord Luo and Lishan are nothing compared to this fairy flower. This fairy flower can improve his realm, and he is bound to get it. Brush. Qin Feng stepped on thunder and rushed towards the fairy flower in an instant. His speed was incredibly fast and he wanted to catch the fairy flower in advance. There are countless masters around who are watching eagerly. If they get it a step later, many more variables will arise. However, when Qin Feng set out, two kings among the casual cultivators suddenly took action against Qin Feng. It was impossible for them to watch Qin Feng, who took the fairy flower in his hands first, and two bright sword energies struck, shattering the void. Qin Feng's body moved, and he turned around in an instant and stood where he was. "You dare to stop me, do you want to die?" Qin Feng's eyes were extremely cold. He originally thought that the first person to attack him would be Venerable Luo, but he didn't expect that it was two casual cultivators. As Qin Feng's voice fell, a huge sacred beast white elephant appeared behind him. The cultivation of the white elephant was at the 6th level of the king, and it was an extremely terrifying existence. Originally, Qin Feng's opponent was only Venerable Luo. The joining of these two casual cultivators was a great threat to him. Since the two insisted on joining in the fun, he could only deal with them together. Although the strength of the two casual cultivators was also extremely strong, the sacred beast white elephant was enough to stop them. "Boy, do you think this is your territory? This fairy flower, just because you are an ignorant junior, you are not worthy of it." The two casual cultivators, their cultivation has reached the king level. At this moment, they entered the secret realm just to consolidate their kingly power. There is a jade marrow fairy flower in front of them, how could they miss it? "Since you are looking for death, I will grant your wish." A murderous intent flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. With his order, the sacred beast white elephant flew into the air and stopped a casual cultivator. The other cultivator rushed towards Qin Feng. In his opinion, Qin Feng was just an ant in the second heaven of the princes. He was not worth mentioning at all and could be killed instantly. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 797. Don't overestimate your capabilities. Qingyun Sanren shouted coldly. He held an immortal sword and slashed forward instantly. The cultivation of the second-level king realm spread out, and the powerful aura radiated to the surrounding areas. At this moment, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth, and the pressure of the Dachshund King suppressed Qin Feng's body, trying to imprison Qin Feng's body. In his opinion, Qin Feng only had the level of cultivation of a prince, so he was unable to resist his pressure and had no capital to resist. Just when Qingyun Sanren was about to kill Qin Feng like he was chopping melons and vegetables, his eyes suddenly glanced at the corners of Qin Feng's mouth, and the curve of his mouth made him suddenly surprised. At this time, Qin Feng's eyes flashed with an icy cold light. He waved the six-path sword in his hand, and the red sword light instantly enveloped the front. God King Yao Qingtian immediately used the third move of the heaven-defying God King sword technique. A huge sword light crossed the void and soared into the sky. The terrifying power instantly broke through the power of King Yun Sanren. This is impossible. King Yun Sanren was shocked, and his face turned ugly in an instant. He thought that Qin Feng's combat power was so terrifying, and his king's pressure had no effect on him. The strength of King Yun Sanren is completely incomparable to that of Venerable Li Wo. At this time, Qin Feng is standing in Jijinjuidian, which is enough to suppress King Yun Sanren. You must know that the heaven-defying Divine King's sword is originally a superior martial skill among the immortals. At this moment, with the blessing of the Nine Forbiddens, its power is unimaginable. In an instant, the brilliant sword light rushed forward. King Yun Sanren hurriedly used the fairy sword in his hand to stop it. However, the next moment his fairy sword was chopped into pieces by Qin Feng's six-path fairy sword, which was completely unable to withstand it. How so? King Yun Sanren was horrified to death. His eyes were full of horror. He found that with his second-level strength as a king, he had no resistance at all in front of Qin Feng, which he couldn't accept. "Senior brother, save me." King Yun Sanren was shocked. He knew that if this continued, he would only be defeated, so he quickly asked his senior brother for help. However, at this time, his senior brother King Yun Sanren was too busy taking care of himself. He was stopped by the holy beast White Elephant and could not escape at all. Chi. As soon as the Six Paths immortal sword moved forward, the God King shone in the sky, and the terrifying sword light came down, leaving King Yun Sanren without the slightest resistance, and was chopped alive in the void. At this time, endless light flowed from King Yun Sanren's body. He wanted to connect them together, but suddenly found that there was a terrible secret power flowing near the wound, making him unable to regenerate. At this time, the Phoenix Divine Flame flowed out of Qin Feng's palm, directly igniting King Yun Sanren. For a moment, the piercing and frightening screams spread far away, shaking the area. A powerful king fell like this, shocking all the monks present. The countless casual cultivators who originally followed were stunned. The princely monks were like gods in their hearts. At this time, they were killed by the opponent like chopping melons and vegetables. This level of combat power really frightened them. After killing a king, a star gold scratch-off card appeared on the spot. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. He instantly took the scratch-off card and scratched it open. Ding! Congratulations to the host who successfully used the star gold scratch-off card and obtained the golden immortal sword embryo. The golden immortal sword embryo can be fused with weapons to make its quality reach the golden immortal realm. Qin Feng's eyes lit up when he heard this. He was feeling that his immortal sword was not enough anymore, but he didn't expect to get such an amazing sword embryo at this time, which made his eyes light up. After he decided to resolve the matter here, he would find a place to hide and improve the quality of the immortal sword in his hand. Then he could block the gods and kill the gods and the Buddhas to kill the Buddhas. After killing a Sanren, he was able to explode such an amazing sword embryo. This made Qin Feng feel very good. The golden light flashed in his eyes and he looked at another Sanren who was fighting the white elephant holy beast. King Yun Sanren was frightened at this moment. Their junior brothers had just discussed that he should stop the holy beast white elephant while his junior brother went to kill Qin Feng. After his junior brother killed Qin Feng, he came to subdue the holy beast white elephant with him. Unexpectedly, his junior brother was killed by the other party in just an instant. This made him know the cultivation of the boy in front of him. Because, beyond his imagination. At this time, he had already wanted to retreat. Although he also wanted to avenge his junior brother, he knew that he could not be the opponent of Bai Xiang and Qin Feng, which frightened him. Qi. At this time, Qin Feng took action boldly, and the six-path fairy sword in his hand bloomed with terrifying sword light, not giving the opponent any chance. The sword technique of the heaven-defying God King instantly covered the body of King Yun Sanren. Under such power, King Yun Sanren was instantly frightened and his body trembled. In an instant, he broke through the void and wanted to escape, but Qin Feng didn't give him a chance at all. The holy beast white elephant blocked his way, which made a look of horror appear on his face. At this time, he wanted to break out from another direction, but it was too late. In just 1 second, Qin Feng's god-defying God King sword fell down and completely tore his body into pieces. Then the divine fire spread and killed him. Completely burned in the void. After killing Qinji and Sanren, a diamond scratch card appeared on the spot. Qin Feng scratched the diamond scratch card and got tens of thousands of top-grade god-cultivating pills. The value of this god-cultivating pill is far from comparable to the previous golden fairy sword embryo, but it is better than nothing. The two minister kings fell completely, shocking everyone in the valley for a while. At this moment, they looked at Qin Feng standing in the void, and they all felt Qin Feng's terrible strength. In their opinion, Qin Feng's cultivation of the second heaven of the princes can easily kill the great king. Who can fight against him? While Qin Feng was fighting against the two scattered people, Luo Venerable was not idle either. He merged with the void and used the teleportation talisman stone to secretly try to catch the fairy flower in his hand. But he never thought that he completely alarmed the sacred tree. One of the sacred trees grew a branch, swooping down like a dragon, and fiercely blasted Luo Venerable. The terrible blow caused the mountain to riot, and the endless energy shook the void and trembled. The countless monks present were all trembling in their hearts and could not bear it. Some monks were so shocked that they saw stars and almost fell to the ground. They were all the best in the east region of Nanling. At this moment, they saw at a glance that the cultivation of this sacred tree had also reached the king level and was the king of sacred trees. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know. We will deal with it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 798. It is extremely difficult for the sacred tree to transform and give birth to a divine soul. At this moment, there is another sacred tree king in this sacred tree cave. This sacred tree king is extremely terrifying. He actually stopped the attack of the Luo Venerable. This scene shocked everyone. Master, be careful. This sacred tree is extremely terrifying. Even I am not its opponent. At this time, the holy beast white elephant sent a message to Qin Feng. The reason why it fled from the second level secret realm to the first level was because it was injured by the sacred tree king of this level. I know, you stop that old man first. Qin Feng's eyes were cold. The sacred beast white elephant might not be able to deal with the sacred tree king, but it could still stop the Luo Venerable. Yes, master. Upon hearing this, the sacred beast white elephant immediately rushed to the Luo Venerable without hesitation. With its strength as high as the 6th level, although it could not form a fatal blow to the king of the Holy Land, it could still easily stop the Luo Venerable. Of course, Qin Feng did not think that the white elephant could kill the Soul Venerable. He asked the white elephant to take action just to buy time for him. Originally, the Luo Venerable was blown away by the king of the divine tree, which made him very unhappy. At this moment, he saw the sacred beast white elephant stopping his steps, which immediately made him furious. He immediately abandoned the king of the divine tree and fought with the sacred beast white elephant. With his strength as the venerable of the ancient Holy Land, if he could not even stop a monster beast, then he would not have to live in the future. One person and one elephant fought together in the void, and the terrible power swept the sky, causing this area to spread extremely terrible fluctuations. After seeing the Luo Venerable being stopped, the king of the divine tree also retracted his branches, and the valley became calm again. At this moment, Qin Feng was suspended in the air, staring at the king of the divine tree in the valley, his eyes shining. He knew that with his current cultivation, it was not enough to defeat the king of the divine tree and get the fairy flower, unless he could advance. As Qin Feng's mind moved, he took out a lot of top-grade god-cultivating pills. These god-cultivating pills can help the cultivators in the vassal realm improve their realm. They are very precious treasures. As countless god-cultivating pills were swallowed by Qin Feng, countless cultivators around him were all stunned. So many pills, as if they were free, were stuffed into his mouth desperately, just like eating beans. It was really swallowed up by a whale, which made people stunned. Because such a large amount of pills were swallowed, the medicinal power was not absorbed at all, and ordinary cultivators would be burst. The other party was so determined at this moment, and his actions were really shocking. However, Qin Feng was not afraid of being burst at all. His divine power was like the sea. At this time, a large amount of true qi had been generated in his dantian, and it was still increasing. In just a few breaths, Qin Feng refined thousands of pills, but this was far from enough. At this moment, Qin Feng waved his hand and took out the jadeite immortal wood. He directly broke off a branch of the jadeite immortal wood and instantly refined it in his dantian. However, the energy of the jadeite immortal wood was so terrifying that it instantly made Qin Feng swell up like a balloon. The energy in his body became extremely strong, and his body also suddenly swelled to more than 10 feet. This scene completely shocked everyone around him, and even Qin Feng himself was shocked. There was a strange look at the corner of his mouth. The energy contained in the jadeite was beyond his imagination. If he hadn't had the blood of Pangu and the body of the God King, he would have been blown up by the energy of the jadeite. Crack! In an instant, Qin Feng's clothes were torn, and his Ruyi Baijia was glowing, blocking his vitals, and he was almost exposed. At this moment, the sound of the shackles in Qin Feng's body breaking was heard, and two shocking auras emanated from his head, and his cultivation level soared directly to the peak of the 4th level of the feudal lords. This was an amazing scene. There was no realm barrier in Qin Feng's body at all. As long as he had enough energy, his realm improvement was not much different from drinking water. Because the energy contained in this fairy wood jade was too amazing, just a branch allowed Qin Feng to directly advance to 2 realms. This scene made Qin Feng ecstatic. In his opinion, as long as he gave himself time to refine this whole fairy wood jade, his cultivation level would most likely directly break through the 7th level of the feudal lords. Of course, it was not suitable to do it immediately at this moment. After all, if that were the case, it would cause a lot of waste of the energy of the jade fairy wood. Just the wasted energy was enough to allow Zhou Qing'er and others to improve their realm. If it was used now, it would be a bit of a loss. Therefore, Qin Feng decided that after solving the incident here, he would set up a formation to lock the energy of the jade fairy wood and let his female companions improve their realm together. After raising 2 realms in a row, the divine power in Qin Feng's body became more powerful and terrifying, and naturally the martial arts he displayed became more powerful. Ding! Congratulations! Remember that the Qinqin seal has evolved into a lower-level martial art of the Golden Immortal, Kunpeng moves the 9 heavens. Qin Feng's eyes lit up when he heard this. Originally, he raised his realm to fight against the King of Divine Trees. At this moment, he instantly decided to try with the Luo Venerable first, and the power after raising 2 realms. At this time, the holy beast White Elephant was fighting with the Luo Venerable. There was a gap of 4 grades between them, but the combat power was almost the same, and neither of them could do anything to the other. Qin Feng stepped on the thunder step and moved his body. In an instant, he came to the top of the Luo Venerable, and a terrible divine flame appeared in his hand. This Phoenix divine flame is a magical power of the celestial immortal level. It is used with the blessing of the 9 forbiddens, and its power is earth-shaking. In an instant, a huge phoenix swooped down and completely submerged the Luo Venerable. Under the blessing of the 9 forbiddens, the phoenix divine flame has nearly 100 times the power, and its strength is earth-shaking, which has attracted the attention of countless cultivators here. Oh my God, that young man has directly improved his realm by 2 levels. Not only did the opponent not burst by the true chi, but his combat power has also become more terrifying. Countless casual cultivators talked about it, their hearts were shocked, and their pupils were full of disbelief. Qin Feng killed 2 great kings in front of everyone at a low level, which was shocking, and now he has improved his realm by 2 levels. This kind of strong sense means is unbearable in everyone's mind. The Phoenix Divine Flame swooped down from the void, riding on the endless interweaving divine flames, engraved with dozens of divine patterns, and was about to submerge Venerable Liwo. Venerable Liwo's pupils shrank under the pressure, and he felt a fatal threat. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 799. Qin Feng's realm was raised at this time, and the means he showed were too powerful, so that Venerable Liwo could not resist at all. When the outermost flames were just approaching Venerable Liwo's body, his body was about to break, unable to bear it. Chilla. In the blink of an eye, the Phoenix Divine Flame, carrying unimaginable extreme intentions, bombarded Venerable Liwo's body. In an instant, the Phoenix Divine Flame broke the defense of Venerable Liwo, and the terrible flames instantly submerged him. Then, a shocking roar came, and the King Rune on Venerable Liwo's body was also unable to resist under the cover of the Phoenix Divine Flame, and was wiped out in an instant. This scene was too shocking. Only using the means of the 4th heaven of the princes and the blessing of the 9 prohibitions, he submerged Venerable Liwo in one move. This scene was really surprising. And the holy beast White Elephant was also very horrified. Before this, when Qin Feng faced Venerable Liwo, he could only tie with him. However, in just 1 hour, the opponent only used one move to crush the Liwo Venerable. Such talent and qualifications are really enviable. Kill. The Liwo Venerable, who was enveloped by the Phoenix Divine Flame, roared loudly and shook his body violently. As a venerable of the ancient Holy Land, his life force was vigorous. At this moment, under the blessing of the King Rune, he was wrapped in the Phoenix Divine Flame and swooped down on Qin Feng, wanting to die with Qin Feng. Don't overestimate your own abilities. Qin Feng showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth. There was an amazing golden light lingering on his body. He raised his hand and slapped the Liwo Venerable. It was the Golden Immortal's method, Kunpeng moving the 9 heavens. When the Kunpeng moving the 9 heavens came out, the terrible yin and yang qi intertwined, the light of the moon and the sun changed, and a shocking Kunpeng hit the Liwo Venerable. In an instant, Venerable Liwo turned into ashes in the void like a snowflake, without any waves. This scene really scared Qin Feng himself. The power of the Golden Immortal grade was so terrible that even he himself did not expect it. At this moment, looking at Venerable Liwo who dissipated in the void, Qin Feng's expression was completely relaxed. With this Golden Immortal grade martial arts, he could run rampant in the Shenmue cave heaven. After killing Venerable Li Hu, Qin Feng picked up a green gold scratch card on the spot. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully using the Star Gold scratch card and obtaining 88 pieces of top-grade chalcedony. The quality of this chalcedony is better than the quality of the jade water that Qin Feng obtained at the beginning. It can help Zhou Qing'er and others evolve, which is not bad. After doing all this, Qin Feng came to the top of Li Tian and slapped him down. Since Venerable Liwo is dead, there is no need for Li Tian to stay. Not good. At this moment, Qin Feng suddenly felt something was wrong. He dodged in an instant, stepped on the thunder step, and moved hundreds of meters away in an instant. Swish. The void trembled slightly, and Li Tian, who was still standing in the same place, was pierced by a branch. Ah! Li Tian screamed in fear. People found that Li Tian's body was aging and becoming a mummy at a speed visible to the naked eye, and he died completely. In the distance, countless cultivators were all stunned. Such a scene was extremely terrifying, which made countless cultivators terrified. At this time, Many casual cultivators who had just arrived near the valley also retreated to the back, not daring to approach here. This scene scared them. Qin Feng's fiery eyes looked directly at the 5 sacred trees in the center of the valley. Just at that moment, a branch of the King of Sacred Trees was hidden in the void. When he was about to attack Li Tian, he took a branch and attacked him instantly. If it weren't for his amazing sixth sense, he would have been in trouble. This King of Sacred Trees is so insidious, no wonder he has such terrible strength. Swish, swish, swish. At the moment of being fixed, Qin Feng's retreat was completely blocked by countless branches. A King of Sacred Trees, with roots rooted in the earth, absorbing divine power, engraved with king runes all over its body, enveloped Qin Feng, and the murderous aura was overwhelming. "Open it for me." At this moment, Qin Feng roared, and the phoenix divine fire spread from his body, forcing those branches back at once. However, a branch still hit Qin Feng's body, leaving a terrible scar on her body. And not only that, the scar left by the branch on Qin Feng's body was filled with king runes, and instantly turned into roots, trying to tie Qin Feng up and absorb his blood. The king of the sacred tree wanted to replicate the method used on Li Tian on Qin Feng. Destroy it? At this moment, even Qin Feng felt great pain in his body. His blood was boiling, and the phoenix flame was burning, turning him into a human-shaped torch. The terrifying flame burned in the void. The phoenix flame was a magical power evolved from Qin Feng's Suzaku divine fire. It revealed the ultimate intention, making Qin Feng like a fire god. In the end, the phoenix flame was indestructible. The king rune of the king of the sacred tree was completely wiped out by the flame on Qin Feng's body. "Human, you are really good." At this time, the king of the sacred tree spoke, and it was impressed by Qin Feng's ability to get rid of its king rune. As its voice fell, thick roots immediately broke out of the ground. A sacred tree, covered with king runes, turned into a human-shaped tree. At this time, the king of sacred trees floated into the air and swooped down towards Qin Feng. On its body, the branches instantly became organized like a magic sword, dancing all over the sky, as fast as a meteor. Under the blessing of the king rune, the offensive was extremely fierce. Faced with such a scene, Qin Feng was still fearless, but just now he was successfully attacked by the king of sacred trees, which made him very unhappy. In an instant, he waved the 6 immortal swords and slashed forward. The sword technique of the God King against the sky was used, and a huge God King figure, exactly the same as Qin Feng's body, was engraved with various runes, and the dazzling sword light broke through the void. Puff, puff, puff. The sacred wood sword pierced through and instantly collided with Qin Feng's 6 immortal swords. The sound was endless, causing the valley to shake. Although the branches of the king of sacred trees were as bright as immortal gold under the blessing of runes, they were not enough to face Qin Feng's 6 immortal swords. In an instant, they were chopped into pieces in the void by Qin Feng. But things did not end like this. Those broken branches emitted endless light in the void. Under the blessing of the king's rune, they turned into a killing array that enveloped Qin Feng. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target. Type, mix. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 800. Buzz. The branches of the sacred tree were glowing, and countless king runes were crisscrossing, drowning Qin Feng. The branches turned into a killing array, spreading endless killing, trying to refine Qin Feng and turn him into ashes. Such a scene really shocked everyone in the distance. After Qin Feng killed the Luo Venerable with one move, people thought that Qin Feng had a chance to kill the king of the sacred tree. But they never thought that in just a few breaths, drastic changes had occurred in the field. This killing array incarnated by the King Rune had extraordinary magic power. Once the cultivator was covered, few people could escape. The God King shines in the blue sky. Qin Feng, who was in the killing array, shouted in a low voice, and the God King vision on his body burst into a terrifying light. A bright moon floated behind him and turned into a divine ring, blessing him. Endless divine power was brilliant, and it burst into light in the killing array. Qin Feng slashed forward with the 6 immortal swords in hand. The sword light collided with the King Rune, and the clanging sound was endless, as if the immortal swords were ringing together. It must be said that this king of the sacred tree is too strong. The terrible killing power displayed by just one clone made the mountains sway and all kinds of light condensed together. Oh my God, just one strike has such power. If all 5 masters attack, what a terrible scene it will be. This young man is in danger. Countless cultivators talked about it. This scene really surprised them. The killing array evolved from a sacred tree, and the terrifying energy flowing out made everyone palpitate. Dang clang! Qin Feng's 6 immortal swords slashed on the King Rune. Even if it was the King Rune, it was not enough in front of Qin Feng's 6 immortal swords, and a large piece was directly chopped off. The killing array that originally enveloped Qin Feng was split open. In the split second, Qin Feng stepped on the thunder and walked out instantly. Boom! The king of the divine tree was glowing all over. It turned into a tree man more than 10 feet tall. On both sides of it, there were 2 branches that turned into arms, performing a terrible killing technique to cover Qin Feng. However, Qin Feng was naturally unwilling to be outdone. The vision of the God King covered his body, and the 6 paths of the immortal sword performed the God King shining in the blue sky and slashed forward. A huge human-shaped God King in the valley, holding a long sword of light, slashed forward, and the terrible sword light broke through the void, making the space tremble. Puff! The God King shining in the blue sky was so dazzling that it broke through the space under the blessing of the 9 forbiddens. The huge image collided with the king of the divine tree, and the world suddenly became brilliant. All kinds of essences surged in the sky like a volcano erupting. Qin Feng naturally knew that such an attack might severely injure the king of the divine tree, but it would not hurt its core, so he stepped on the thunder step and swooped down towards the king of the divine tree. He wanted to chop the king of the divine tree into the sky and earth. Not good. Suddenly, Qin Feng was startled, because he found that the king of the divine tree that he had just chopped apart had appeared in the distant sky. And in its place was another intact king of the divine tree. The opponent's combat power was at the peak of the realm. In an instant, it switched positions with the king of the divine tree that was injured by Qin Feng, waiting to give Qin Feng a fatal blow. Ong! In the first time, Qin Feng surrounded his body with the image of the king of the divine, and at the same time, he gave birth to the domain of the immovable king of the divine to the peak. Under the blessing of the 9 prohibitions, the immovable king of the divine had nearly 100 times the energy blessing, and the 4 symbols runes were engraved on it. At this moment, the immovable king of the divine was shining with a golden light shield, which was extremely solid. The branches of the sacred tree danced like a demon dragon, and the king runes engraved on them were extremely brilliant. In an instant, all the king runes bombarded Qin Feng's divine king light shield, and a metallic tremor was heard. This terrible scene spread here, and the void was shaking and shattering, spreading cracks. Qin Feng, who was in the eye of the storm, was like a lone boat. Those branches of the sacred tree were really terrifying. Each one was as thick as a demon dragon, and like a chain that bound a giant in the sky. The king rune exuded a peerless murderous intent, which could easily destroy the strong in the vassal domain. Even the great king could not directly confront it. Countless cultivators in the distant sky were all stunned, even Shang-Chi and Lanyu and her protectors were horrified. Such a scene, if there is the ability to destroy the sky, They asked themselves if they encountered it, they would be shattered on the spot in an instant, and they had no power to resist at all. Countless cultivators were stunned. A sacred tree rose from the ground and moved freely in the void. This method was really extraordinary. However, this height that ordinary people could not reach was not enough to face Qin Feng's body defense. The countless branches hit Qin Feng's immovable Divine King light shield, and a clanging sound was heard, like the sound of immortal swords. Qin Feng's body was shaken. Although his body shield was not broken, it still stimulated his blood. This shocking energy that could injure the great king and kill the princes also caused Qin Feng's internal organs to be injured. However, such injuries were not enough for Qin Feng's recovery ability and his Divine King body. Almost in the blink of an eye, the Divine King blood in Qin Feng's body flowed, and his 5 internal organs began to ring, and the breath of life was fully revealed. Although this terrible killing intention made the cultivators in the field unable to calm down, it did not cause any substantial harm to Qin Feng. In the void, the human-shaped king of the divine tree danced, and its paper was engraved with the king's rune, which was brilliant and amazing. At this time, its heart was extremely restless. Although this was only one of its clones, the combat power it exerted could instantly gather the energy of several clones. But even so, it failed to break Qin Feng's body shield, and this scene really shocked it. "Human, retreat quickly, I can give you and your people a way out." The voice of one of the kings of the divine tree came, and its words were not loud, but they echoed here. Countless cultivators in the air were stunned when they heard the words, because they knew that at this time, the king of the divine tree said this, obviously thinking that he had no full plan to fight Qin Feng. Such a scene really shocked people. A king of the divine tree of the 6th rank, that arrogant and domineering creature, faced a human cultivator, and actually gave the other party a chance to leave. This was beyond people's expectations. The young cultivator in front of them was really terrifying. He was so young, but he was suspended in the air, fighting against the king of the divine tree with the cultivation of the 2nd heaven of the princes. With such combat power and qualifications, I am afraid that he has already surpassed some famous figures of the older generation. Invincible Scratch Lottery System. Author, Xiankong Fashi. Chapter 801. In the distance, countless people turned their eyes to Qin Feng, and they all wanted to see how Qin Feng would respond. Because they knew that if Qin Feng retreated at this time, no one would be able to get the chalcedony flower in the field. After all, not everyone in this secret realm can fight against the king of divine trees. Perhaps only by gathering all the countless monks in the secret realm can it be possible to defeat the king of divine trees. However, the price paid for that would undoubtedly be very painful, and there was no powerful person with such prestige present who could gather them together. "Give me the fairy flower, and I will consider sparing your life. Otherwise, there will no longer be a place for you in this secret realm." Qin Feng's words were extremely calm, and he was suspended in mid-air. He waved his hand and took out a healing pill from his arms and swallowed it. As the elixir dissolved, the injuries suffered in Qin Feng's body healed instantly. After all, as an alchemist, his alchemy methods are among the most amazing in the world. When countless melon-eating monks heard this, they were all dumbfounded. Now that things have come to this Wei Nian is still so strong. Facing a 6th-grade king, the other party not only showed no awe at all, but actually dared to threaten him. This was really aloof. After all, this sacred tree king is extremely terrifying, and his qualifications are extraordinary. Even an ordinary king can only look at this sacred tree king levelly, instead of looking down at him with such a detached attitude. Qin Feng's move seemed too arrogant to these people. "Boy, I declare now that it will be difficult for you to die. I will make you suffer the most painful torture in the world." In mid-air, the voice of the human-shaped sacred tree king was extremely cold. Qin Feng's response completely angered it. This young monk didn't take it seriously because of some methods, which made it seem that the other party already had a way to kill him. Originally, it saw that it was not easy for the other party to practice, and in the second level of the secret realm, there were also some powerful kings who looked down at its ferry. Moreover, it is still at a critical juncture of transformation, so it does not want to waste its energy by dealing with a human monk. Therefore, it was ready to give the other party a favor, but it didn't expect that the other party would be so ignorant of compliments. If such a scene were spread out, countless kings in the secret realm would definitely laugh at it, which it could not accept. Just you. Qin Feng was suspended in mid-air and shook his head calmly. He just looked at the King of Divine Trees calmly, casually, and naturally. Such a look was extremely angry in the eyes of the King of Divine Trees. For the other party to be so contemptuous is an insult to it and a sign of not taking it seriously at all. This is rudeness to it over and over again. At this moment, the King of God's busyness said nothing more. It was suspended in mid-air, and a murderous aura spread from its body, permeating the entire valley. In the distance, countless monks and monsters were horrified. Many of them were pale, with fear in their souls, unable to withstand the pressure. Fortunately, they were far enough away. Otherwise, the murderous intent of the King of Divine Trees alone would make some low-level monks unable to bear it and collapse on the spot. You must know that this kind of accomplished king stands at the apex of the secret realm, and his every word, deed, and movement has an inexplicable divine power. This kind of divine power can affect the mood and soul of low-level monks, making them surrender and unable to resist. I suggest you come together. Qin Feng stood in mid-air, his expression still calm. Although the King of Divine Trees was extremely terrifying, he could not yet pose a threat to him. He now wants to irritate all the King of Sacred Trees and unite the opponent's 5 clones into one. He wanted to see how advanced the other party's fighting power could be after becoming one. Because at this time, Qin Feng was ready to use the sky-opening stone axe, so as to maximize the power of the sky-opening stone axe. Just imagine, the majestic king of the sacred tree was killed on the spot by Qin Feng in an instant. Such a scene would definitely calm everyone around him. By then, even the most accomplished kings in the entire secret realm can only treat Qin Feng with courtesy when they see him, and few people dare to have any ill will towards Qin Feng. As Qin Feng's words fell, the sacred tree that Qin Feng had just injured, and the king of the sacred tree suspended in the air, stared at Qin Feng in front of him without saying a word. Although they didn't speak, the murderous intent emanating from the two of them made people know that they were afraid of a fight to the death. Are there any more? Why not let the other 3 clones come together? Qin Feng said calmly. His fiery eyes could tell at a glance that these 5 kings of sacred trees were actually one. Each of the 5 strains they differentiated has the fighting power of the king's realm. Moreover, they are connected heart to heart, and the power they exert together is earth-shattering. The ordinary princes and kings do not know what they mean, and they are afraid that they will instantly become angry on the spot. However, because Qin Feng has a system and a sharp eye, he has long seen that the origins of these 5 kings of sacred trees are completely the same. They can share a core and can be instantly separated among the 5 sacred trees, coming and going freely. This method of adding up their combat power once they are united is simply terrifying. In the distance, countless monks were stunned when they heard this. Originally, they thought that the 5 sacred trees here were all individuals. But after hearing Qin Feng's words, they really knew. This sounded like thunder in everyone's ears. These 5 kings of sacred trees were actually clones. If they were to combine their fighting power, they would probably be difficult to resist. To deal with you, the 2 of us are enough. The 2 clones of the King of Sacred Trees responded coldly. In their opinion, there was no need to use 5 clones. Just the 2 of them together, the fighting power would be multiplied, and the fighting power could reach the 7th rank of the king. With the 7th rank of the king, crushing a cultivator of the 2nd heaven of the lords is as simple and calm as crushing an ant. You think I am a small cultivator in the Lord's domain, and you despise me like this, but you will suffer the consequences. Qin Feng sneered while standing in the air. With his current strength, the king of sacred trees is just two clones combined into one. He doesn't even need to use the stone axe of the sky, and he is fully confident that he can stop the two. In the distance, countless cultivators were talking about it. A young man like Qin Feng could be so calm in the face of the sacred tree of the king realm, which really amazed them. Why does this person look so familiar? Why do I feel that this person is on the first floor, killing the cultivator who guarded the sacred tree? Now that you mention it, I also feel that it is very similar. This figure is indeed very familiar. Countless cultivators were all surprised. The other party came to the second floor, but they didn't expect to face this terrible sacred tree again. Such a style of action really made them admire him.